Hi, my name is Morgan Nagel, and I will be talking about Chapter 12, the Transformative Learning Theory. Now, what is the Transformative Learning Theory? I first want to start off with this quote that was actually by Merirow, who developed the Transformative Learning Theory, because I feel like it really sums the whole thing up. He said that the transformative learning theory is the process by which we transform our taken for granted frames of reference, meaning schemes, habits of mind, mindsets, to make them more inclusive, discriminating, open, emotionally capable of change, and reflective so that they may generate beliefs and opinions that will prove more true or justified to guide action. Now, this learning theory is definitely aimed more so towards adults because we'll learn about it more throughout this presentation, but it does include a lot of conflicting of beliefs. So that's why I did include this picture, because the person is determining, do I change, do I stay the same, and they're kind of experiencing a dilemma with this new obstacle ahead of them. We'll take a moment to backtrack and think about the constructivist theory versus the transformative learning theory. In the constructivist theory, your meaning is created from individual and social experiences. However, in the transformative learning theory, meaning is created through learning, reflecting, and dialogue. So the transformative learning theory definitely includes a lot more reflection of your past experiences and new experiences than the constructivist theory does. Now, it's really important to note that learning is a process, especially in the transformative learning theory. It can take some time for us to process this new information, but in the end, it does really allow us to take on some new points of view that can really benefit us. Now, with this being said, processes definitely are not always easy. Sometimes when people are going through the transformative learning process, they experience what we call disorienting dilemmas, and this is when their new learning experiences are contradicting with their prior learning experiences. Again, this is why the transformative learning theory is really aimed towards adults. They have a lot more life experiences that they've encountered than a child does. And these disorienting dilemmas really often take place during major life transitions or crises. Now, these are the 10 possible phases of the transformative learning theory. These are actually the same exact phases that were listed in the reading in this graphic, so I will go ahead and go through all 10 phases. First is the disorienting dilemma, which we did just talk about. Second is when you have a self-examination, and this can include feelings of guilt or shame. So during this disorienting dilemma, you may think, oh my goodness, I've been feeling this way for so long. I shouldn't have thought that way. I can't believe I've lived my whole life like this. And there's definitely a lot of contradicting feelings still present in phase 2. As we move on to phase 3, you begin to make a critical assessment of epistemic, sociocultural, or psychic assumptions. So you really take a moment to step back and think about all of the assumptions you have and whether or not you should maybe change some of them. Phase 4 allows you to recognize that the process of transformation is shared with discontent, and others have negotiated a similar change. So basically, this is just saying change isn't always easy. Others have gotten through it, and I think I can get through it too. In phase 5, you begin to explore options for new roles, relationships, and actions. So you begin to kind of figure out what you're going to do to change and transform this knowledge. In phase 6, you begin to plan a course of action. You determine, how am I going to actually make a change? I'm not just going to talk about making a change. I'm going to plan out exactly how I'm going to do it and what I need to do to get there, which moves really nicely into phase 7 because that's an acquisition of knowledge and skills for implementing one's plans. You're taking that plan that you made in phase 6 and you're actually going out there. Maybe you're taking a class, you're talking to someone, you're reading new information. You are actually acquiring the knowledge and skills you need to make this change that you're trying to make. In phase 8, you begin to temporarily try out new roles. So you are just kind of going through the motions to figure out what fits best and what feels most natural for you. In phase 9, you're building competence and self-confidence in new roles and relationships. So that just means that you've been trying out this new role for a while. You've probably found the one that fits best and feels best for you. And from there, you're beginning to feel more confident and you're more competent with this new learning that you've encountered or acquired. Finally, in phase 10, it's a reintegration into one's life on the basis of conditions dictated by one's perspective. So you now have a new perspective and you're able to integrate this new information into your life. You've completely transformed your knowledge. Now, all of those 10 phases do fall under these 4 components of the transformative learning process. The ones in the graphic to the left have slightly different names, but I'm going to use the same ones as the article. It begins with experience, critical reflection, reflective discourse, and action. And we're going to go ahead and figure out what exactly those mean. Experience is pretty self-explanatory. This is just everything that has occurred in our lifetime thus far. So this may be knowledge and skills that we've already obtained, our attitudes towards certain things. Maybe this could even be a bias that we already have, but this is something that is already present at the start of the transformative learning. Next is reflective discourse, and this is when we are assessing and identifying our assumptions about things, and we're beginning to brainstorm alternatives. So this is the phase where disorienting dilemmas do take place because maybe we're thinking, oh my goodness, I've had this assumption for so long, this is wrong. It can be a really conflicting time and it can be really difficult for some people, but this is where we begin to identify and challenge these assumptions. Next, we go into critical reflection, and this is an assessment of assumptions that can help us have a clearer understanding. And this is developed through experiences that we've had, experiences that we have to form a better judgment. And this can include understanding that power can have an impact on your assumptions. And also, it allows you to question assumptions and practices that you currently have. So the little fish in the picture you can see, normally it probably does not swim upside down, but by changing their perspective a little bit, they realize that it isn't that bad and they have a clearer understanding of a different point of view. Now finally, you take action, and that is when you finally have a new perspective and it allows you to integrate this new information into your life. So this goes really nicely with the last phases of the 10 phases of transformative learning because it talks about learning the new skills and knowledge that you need, acquiring it, trying these different roles, and becoming more confident and competent so you can actually take action and integrate this new information into your life. Now, everything in the transformative learning theory falls under these 3 different types of meaning structures. We have frame of reference, habit of mind, and point of view. I'll begin with our frame of reference. This is a meaning perspective that's created from our assumptions and our expectations. So this is when our past experiences help transform our new experiences. It allows us to alter how we view and filter the world based off of the experiences that we already have. So as you can see, these 2 gentlemen in the graphic have different frames of reference. One looks at the circle as a whole, whereas the other looks at it as a donut. And these frames of reference are often shaped from our childhood, social encounters that we've had, and perhaps acculturation as well. Next, we have the habit of mind, which is a more generalized set of assumptions that we use to filter and interpret our experiences into meaning making. So this can include morals, ethics, philosophical and psychological experiences that we've had, and generalized predispositions. So this person on the right has different habits of mind. Yours may be different from the ones listed here. It really just depends on you. I also found this as I was doing more research, and these are different habits of mind that children can have. So as you can see, they have a lot of different examples, and they really phrase it in a way that's easy to understand. Finally, we have our point of view, which is our set of knowledge, beliefs, values, and feelings towards different aspects. And in the background, you can see the two people shaking hands have very different points of views, and perhaps they have different things that they prioritize over others, but they're still able to come together, which I think is kind of what the transformative learning experience is all about. It's really about taking a new perspective. Now, this theory does include a lot of reflection, because we can't have change without being able to take a moment back and reflect on what we already know and what we want to know. So the three types of reflection that Merirow lists are content reflection, which thinks about the actual problem's content; process reflection, which includes problem-solving strategies we may take; and the premise reflection, which is how the problem is actually relevant in our life. Of course, there are a few critiques of the transformative learning theory. Many critics say that there's a lack of attention to how culture can affect the transformative learning, how the context of the situation affects it, and how the different emotions that you experience throughout the different 10 phases can affect it as well. The original theory did not include how emotions may develop throughout the process, but as time and studies have gone on, there definitely is more information on that. And it's also difficult for participants to actually reflect on how the transformative learning really works, and being able to really conclude that and explain it to other people. Finally, we as future educators need to know that sometimes students want to stop when things get uncomfortable, but we need to teach them the importance of transforming their knowledge to help create culturally competent individuals. And we can use this to actually examine our own beliefs about students in education. Here's a little video that I included that talks about how transformative learning takes place in schools.
Transformative learning can be the process of changing one's opinion of their own value, intelligence, or potential. Many of our students come to us with very little confidence. Through the process of transformative learning, our students can gain great confidence and belief in themselves. Transformative learning can also be the process of changing one's perception of education. Learners may be surprised when their learning doesn't look like this traditional classroom experience. Perhaps their learning experience will look more like this. Or maybe it will look like this. Transformative learning is the process that changes the way a learner views education. Another area where we see transformative learning occur is through the changing of one's worldview, prejudices, or morals. Students can increase their awareness of other people and cultures and begin to negate stereotypes through learning. Finally, transformative learning can be the process of changing personal opinions on content or current events. Discussing and learning about a topic can challenge a student to think outside their own circumstances to see multiple points of view. Now let's review. Transformative learning is the process of changing personal beliefs or opinions on any of the following: one's own value, intelligence, or potential; one's worldview, prejudices, or morals; one's perception of education; or any curricular content or current events.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much for watching my presentation about the transformative learning theory. If you have any questions at all, just please feel free to let me know. Thank you.